How's it growing, gardeners? It's Tuesday, January 12th, and we're about 8 to 9 weeks away from our last frost date here on the southeastern coast of North Carolina. So, tonight I'm going to start my tomato seeds. I've been tremendously successful growing my annual vegetables from seed with nearly 100% germination, so I want to show you exactly how I do it, including a little tool that I use to make my seed starting as quick and easy as possible. While I will be planting tomato seeds in this video, you can apply these principles to any of the common vegetables we like growing in our garden. The first thing you want to do is choose your growing container and potting medium. You can use anything from pots to seed start trays to random containers to these Jiffy greenhouses right here to start your seeds. Personally, I like starting my seeds in peat moss pellets inside these Jiffy greenhouse domes, as I find they have both the fastest rate and highest rate of germination success. I like using these peat pellet trays for 3 reasons. 1, they're small so you can grow a lot of plants in a small area. 2, they're individually separated so you don't have to squeeze the seedlings out of a seed start tray, which can damage the roots. And 3, the peat pellets are completely dehydrated when you purchase them, so they're sterile. Using peat pellets, I have never had an issue with fungus gnats, which can be a real problem when using bagged seedling mix, since bagged soils are often contaminated with fungus gnat eggs. Now, the downside to peat pellets is they're more expensive than buying large bags of potting mix, but I prefer the convenience and sterility of the soil, and for small backyard gardens such as mine, the extra couple dollars is worth it. If you're interested in where to buy these peat pellets and Jiffy greenhouses, I have them linked in my Amazon storefront, but honestly, they're cheapest when bought directly from Lowe's and Home Depot in the store. The peat pellets are only about $3 for a 36 count box there, and these greenhouses are only about $5 there. Now, if you choose to use seedling trays or containers and bulk potting mix to start your seeds, ensure that you fill your containers as you normally do and get your plant labels ready so you don't get your seedlings all mixed up. If you want to use these peat pellets, I'm going to show you 2 tricks to make using these peat pellets as easy as possible. The first trick is labeling your peat pellets. Because you can't stick a plant label in each pellet like you can in a seedling tray, I label these peat pellet trays with numbers in each of the corners in order to orient the tray. I label them with the numbers 1, 2, 3, and 4. Then I print out an array of circles on a piece of paper that act as my legend for the seedling tray with the same numbers in the corners for orientation. When it comes time to transplant these, that's when I make my plastic labels for each plant. The second trick is hydrating these peat pellets. If you use cool tap water, they take forever to hydrate. I like to heat up water on the stove until it's steaming, then pour it into the corner of the tray. The peat pellets rapidly uptake hot water and expand almost instantly. After pouring in the hot water, I let the pellets fully hydrate and then cool back down to room temperature. Be sure that you don't plant your seeds into the pellets while they are still hot, or you can destroy the seed. The pellets must be cool to the touch. Now that we've prepped our pellets and have our legend that shows the varieties that we're planting, I want to show you the tool that I use to make my seed starting so easy. And that tool is a simple chopstick. This chopstick allows me to open the seed packets, poke holes into the medium, pick up the hard to grab seeds, and compact the peat pellets with ease, which I will demonstrate in this video. So in front of me are all of my peat pellets, and as you can see, I have 2 holes punched into each of these peat pellets. And I like to put holes in my peat pellets before I start putting in the seeds, because this allows me to quickly and efficiently go back and forth with the seeds and drop them into the hole. And I like using this chopstick to do that. It's very quick and easy. Now, depending on what you're growing, the depth that you have to plant the seed can vary, so I suggest checking the pack of the seed for the planting depth for whatever it is that you're planting. It always says it on the back of the packet. When it comes to planting tomato seeds and most warm weather vegetables, we like to plant them anywhere from about 1/4 of an inch to 1/8 of an inch deep. So what I like to do is I like to hold my chopstick like this, and then I just like to put in 2 holes in the corner / somewhat in the center of each of these peat pellets. And the reason why we put in 2 holes is because seeds don't have 100% germination. Generally, germination is somewhere between 70 to 90%, depending on the type of seed. So if we only plant 1, we're probably going to get a significant number of plants that don't come up. So when we have an abundance of seed, it's usually safest to plant 2, because then we will be pretty certain that something will come up. Now that our peat pellets have fully cooled down to room temperature and we punched holes in all of them to place our seed, I also like using this chopstick as a letter opener of sorts to open up all of our packages of seed. So it comes in handy for that. Now, this variety right here is called Florida 91 Hybrid, and this is supposed to be a tomato that has heat set capabilities. It gets so hot in my summers that all of the flowers tend to fall off and die and I can't get pollination. So I'm experimenting with some heat tolerant tomatoes this year. So in this packet, they only gave me a handful of seed, not much at all. There's only 10 seeds in this packet, so because they gave me so few seeds, I'm going to only plant 1 of this variety for each of the peat pellets. So normally I would do 2, but I just don't have enough of this seed. So I'm going to consult my legend, and I want to plant 6 Florida 91s, which are in the first column. So what I did was I dumped all of the seed out into my hand like this. And using this chopstick, if you simply dip this chopstick in a little bit of water like this, it becomes just fantastic at picking up the seed. See how it just grips right onto that? One of the hardest things when it comes to starting seed is being able to grab the seed because it's so small relative to your fingers. And this makes it simple. So I like to simply plop it in the hole. So 1, grab 2 on that one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And just for good measure, I'm going to place a 7th seed because just in case one of them doesn't come up, I want to have an extra started. And if I get a double in one, I can easily just break the peat pellet in half and move them into separate trays. So then I'm just going to make sure that each of these seeds are contacting the bottom of the soil. I have 7 total. And then I'm going to take my chopstick, flip it over, and I'm going to use that to compact the top. And this makes the perfect compaction tamper for these peat pellets. It's almost like it was designed for starting seeds. And just like that, in a matter of seconds, I have 6 seeds that are started. So using this chopstick and this little glass of water, I'm going to plant all of the seeds that are in my legend right here. And I'm going to get them all placed. It should only take maybe about 10 minutes or so to do. And that's only because I'm insistent on growing so many different varieties of tomatoes. Now look how easy this is to do this. So I need a total of 6 seeds of this Bella Rosa hybrid tomato. So all I need to do is dip, grab 1, go 1, 2, 3, give another dip, 4, 5, and 6. Look how easy that was. Wasn't that so much easier than trying to pick them up with your fingers? It only takes seconds like this. Somebody is really bored because I'm making this video. He wants to play. Dale, are you bored? Dale? Alright, ignore me, buddy. Well, anyway, I have all of these seeds that are placed. So now that they are all placed where they need to be, I'm going to take my chopstick and I'm going to press the seeds down to make sure that they are fully buried 1/4 of an inch deep, and then I'm going to tamp them down with the back of the chopstick. And now that all of the seeds have been compacted and everything feels really good, I'm going to top them off with just a little bit of water because all of these peat pellets are nice and damp, but they need just a little bit more additional moisture, just a drop. So I like taking this turkey baster and only putting maybe 5 or 6 drops on each of them just to keep the top moist. And remember, it is important that you don't overwater these peat pellets because you are going to be leaving this greenhouse lid on, and that's going to hold in the humidity and prevent evaporation. Now, the one thing that you need to know about using these Jiffy greenhouses is if you leave the lid on, and I recommend you do, you need to pull that lid off every single day, hopefully twice a day. And the reason why is you need to let fresh air in there. If you don't let fresh air in there, you're going to create an anaerobic condition which will help rot take hold. Bad things happen in environments low in oxygen because that is where rot-producing bacteria tends to flourish, and fresh air will keep them from proliferating. So make sure that you every single day lift that lid, and I usually like to drain off the condensation inside, and that's all you really need to do. And that you will get extra condensation that will form on the top of the lid if you use bottom heat to help start your seedlings, which brings me to my next point. I strongly recommend that you use a good quality seedling starting mat to apply bottom heat to help germination. And in my research and my experience, the reason why people have trouble starting annual vegetables from seed is they don't apply bottom heat. Now, not everything that you grow requires bottom heat. If you are growing cold crops like broccoli or cabbage or lettuces or things like parsley, things that thrive in the cool temperatures, you do not want to use bottom heat because they are cold season crops that naturally germinate in cool weather. However, when it comes to warm weather summer crops like your tomatoes, your peppers, cucumbers, zucchini, things that cannot handle frost and freezes like eggplant, those things should be started with bottom heat because they come from tropical and subtropical climates where the soil temperature is very warm. So here I have a very nice heat mat, and if you're interested where I've got this from, it's linked on my Amazon storefront. It's very affordable. This 10-inch by 20.75-inch heat mat will perfectly keep my seedling starting tray on it. It is the exact size for this 72 cell greenhouse. So now that that is on bottom heat, I am going to place the lid on that, and I would expect my my tomatoes to start germinating within about 4 to 7 days with bottom heat. Without bottom heat, they will take much longer, and they can fail entirely if it is too cool, because if the soil temperature is too cool, your warm weather summer crops will not germinate. And just to give you an idea as to where I like to start my seedlings, I start them right on the end of my kitchen table, which is nearby the patio door. I like them to be in indirect light. Pardon the mess, we're still taking down Christmas lights here. So right here is my patio door. That is going to give that seedling tray a little bit of indirect light. You don't need light to germinate the seedlings. However, as soon as the seedlings start popping up, I'm going to relocate the heat mat from the edge of this table, and I'm going to move it to the floor right here because I need them to be in sunlight, or else the seedlings will start to get leggy. The reason why I don't start them on the concrete floor right away is because I have a concrete slab foundation and the heat mat won't get very warm on it. But once the germination process starts and they start shooting up out of the peat pellets, then I no longer need as much bottom heat, so it's okay to be on that concrete floor. And that light from my south-facing patio will prevent the seedlings from getting leggy. If you live in a warmer, more mild climate like I do, I simply carry my seedlings out during the day once the temperature is above 40 degrees, and I put them in the sun, and they grow in natural light, and they become very strong, and I never have to harden them off because they are used to the true rays of the sun. If you live in a cooler climate where it does not get warm enough during the day for you to bring your seedlings outside and you have to use grow lights, Make sure you have your grow lights ready, or you can just straight up start your seedlings underneath the grow lights instead of having them on a table like this with a bottom heat mat. But when it comes time to move them outside, you're going to have to slowly harden them off, because the true UV light rays of the sun, it's a much fuller spectrum, more intense light than you'll get from any grow light. So you have to slowly acclimate them to the sun if you're going to use grow lights. And that is how I like to start my seedlings from seed. Everybody, thank you so much for watching today's video. If you found it helpful, please hit that like button, and if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, please subscribe for future updates and more videos like these. If you're curious about any of the materials that I used in this video, or if you're curious in any of the other products that I use in my garden, everything I use is linked in my Amazon storefront in the video description. Thank you all again so much for watching, and I hope to see all of you again on the next video.